So the toolbox was always hidden. And I'll have disassembled the Hoover. I'll have disassembled the, because I want to know what is inside and how it works. So I will just take the tools and take it apart.
What was the biggest appliance that you tried to disassemble?
Probably the stereo.
17, 18, you had your own company.
Yeah.
There was no partying. It wasn't the university like you see on TV, like frat boys, and it was full on.
It was 3 or 4 hours of,
It was negative. Why negative? Just don't give me a point. That's okay.
Minus.
0 is good.
Minus. So you can get minus 10 to 10. So getting a 4 or 5, man, it was an achievement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
0 seems like an achievement as well.
This is when I learned the art of attention to detail.
In Miami,
of a corporate office, without having any appointment, and speaking to the receptionist. Oh, I want to speak.
William, welcome to the Rice Pudding Project.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. I've heard a lot about you, a lot.
Really?
From a mutual friend of us. All good things, from our mutual, mutual friend Nadeem. He speaks very highly of you. So I thought I need to have you on the show to talk about the things that you do. So
it's a pleasure.
For the audience at home, can you explain what it is what you do and your full name?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll introduce quickly myself. I'm William Shintani. I am the managing partner of a branding and technology firm called Emblem.
Okay.
We removed the vowels. It's Emblem, but we removed the vowels. It became Emblem. Mm-hmm. And what we do is we help companies to achieve their potential by using branding and technology as the tools that we have at hand. So our mutual friend Nadeem,
yes,
he's a great strategist, and we've been working with him for 2-3 years now. Yeah. And this is one of the things that we do with him.
Surprisingly, he could have talked about my brand, and he could have told me how he could have improved my brand, but he's never done that.
Yeah, he probably would have to charge you oodles of money. So
yeah, we don't have money right now. We'd have to do some kind of a crowdfunding to raise the money to do it. Yeah. Okay. And then where did you grow up?
I grew up in Mexico.
Okay.
And in Brazil.
Yeah. Rio or
São Paulo.
São Paulo. Okay.
Yeah. São Paulo is where a lot of the Japanese community lives.
Yeah.
My father was an expat in Mexico, so it happens to be that was, my mom got very excited during the 70s World Cup and Brazil won, and then I was born there.
Okay, amazing. All right, yeah.
Here we go. I have a Mexican passport and
a Brazilian
passport. Yeah.
Okay, but you're originally from.
My family is originally Japanese.
Japanese, yeah, because there's a lot of Japanese in Brazil and a lot of Brazil in Japan, as well, Brazilians in Japan as well.
Correct. Yeah. Correct.
I remember. I don't know which World Cup. I think it was '98 World Cup. There was a Brazilian player playing for Japan, Alex or Alexi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm. I don't know, depending who counts, but either I am a 3rd generation Japanese or a 2nd generation Japanese.
Okay.
Because my grandfathers and mothers from both sides were Japanese, and they migrated to Brazil. I mean, I didn't get to really know my grandmother, but she didn't speak a word of Portuguese.
Okay.
Yeah, she was.
Do you speak?
Japanese.
So you speak Spanish, Portuguese, and Japanese?
A little bit of Japanese.
Okay.
Yeah. I went to Japanese school in Mexico.
All right.
So at some point I was fluent.
Okay.
And, many years after, less neurons in the brain. You kind of forget.
I've always been fascinated by the Japanese culture, but mostly because of the cinema. Because I grew up watching Akira Kurosawa movies, and I was in awe of all of his
You speak Japanese?
No. No, not at all. I mean, I wouldn't even attempt to. But I mean, I grew up watching Seven Samurai and Yojimbo, and it was for me the most amazing films.
Right.
And I was always in love with that, the whole style, the clothing, the samurai swords, and the childish kind of things. And I've always wanted samurai swords when I was growing up. It was
the millenary tradition, right? That cultural. I mean, I go to Japan every year.
Okay.
I spend summer there with my family.
Where do you go?
Tokyo mainly.
Okay.
I mean, we go all over Japan.
Yeah.
Let's say that our baseline will be always Tokyo.
Yeah.
Because I have a very close cousin, and so we go and meet family there. And then, from there we just venture out to the south, to the west, east, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of calling my roots in there. It's a lot of nostalgia because I went to Japanese school, and there was a lot of that mixed culture thing happening at home in between my mother, my father, cooking, educating us in some Japanese ways, and having to attend the festivals in the Japanese school.
Okay.
So
I'm dying to go to Japan, but I'm not allowed to go until my wife is ready to go.
Right.
Because my wife does, I need to get this right. She does karate. She does Shotokan.
Okay.
So she's a 4th degree black belt.
Wow.
And one of her aspirations is to go to Japan and go and train.
Meet her school master. Whatever,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Because she's part of the Japanese Federation.
Right.
So she said you can go when she's so when she's ready we'll go there. When she tells me, when I have permission from her, I'm gonna go there with her son.
Hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon, yeah. Because there was a jiu-jitsu tournament that I wanted to enter in September, and I said, hey, there's this competition, and she just said, you're not going, not until I go. Because it was her dream first.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna go when she's ready, which is
Fair
probably
enough.
be next year.
Right.
I want to go. Where did you study?
I studied in Mexico.
Okay, Mexico City.
Yeah.
Okay, and what did you study?
I did kind of 2 majors. I did one that's electromechanical engineering.
Electrical mechanical engineering.
Yes. And I dropped in the middle of it to go and study business administration.
Okay, but then how did that get you into the field that you're in now? Because they don't seem to be relatable, or am I wrong?
No, you're right. I mean, I did electromechanical engineering because, when I was a kid, the one thing that my parents had to always hide from me was tools. So the toolbox was always hidden.
Okay.
Because they will find my mom and my dad will be working together, and they'll arrive home.
Yeah.
And I'll have disassembled the Hoover. I'll have disassembled the, because I want to know what is inside and how it works. So I will just take the tools and take it apart.
But did you try to put it back together again?
Of course, but you don't.
You don't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. As a kid, you never know.
How old were you when you were trying to do that?
I don't know, 7, 8. So my mom really had to hide any kind of tools from me.
Seriously? Really, she had to hide them?
Yeah, seriously. She will put it on the key. She will, take all the screwdrivers and everything else piece of tool, because otherwise I will disassemble my brother's toys. I will disassemble the appliances. I will get into anything that I could get my hands on.
What was the biggest appliance that you tried to disassemble?
Probably the stereo. At that time, it was the
tape,
the integrated stereo that had a cassette player, an LP, the radio. So that thing, I took it apart. And it was a very expensive piece of tech at that time. So my parents were mortified, but it worked after,
The stereo did?
Yeah.
Properly, or with
I don't know.
A little bit of skipping here and there.
I don't remember. But it worked. I remember it worked. I mean, we could record cassettes and
So you were very it's a good talent to have.
Yeah, I was very curious.
Yeah,
I guess. And so after I finished high school, one of the things I wanted to either do was either architecture, because I love the drawings.
Okay, you love architectural drawings.
Yes, I love the part of looking at spaces and the detail that goes into it, and I used to love the maquettes. But I also grew up in my father's office, right? So my father had a publishing house in Mexico. So he specialized in publishing B2B magazines for like healthcare or different type of news, office and businesses and what have you. So I will go there and I will see all this tech going on there. I mean, at that time was this type of IBM typesetting machines and the first computers, the first kind of things, how they will assemble a magazine and every page, every photo, all this stuff. And I guess that sparked my curiosity into the field that I started incursioning during high school, which was I wanted to do a business of my own, and I started doing this graphic design posters for parties. With a friend. I had absolutely no talent for graphic design myself.
Yeah.
So, but I will recruit other people that will have that talent.
Yeah.
And then this pair up with my curiosity of technology, right?
But did you know what looked good?
Yeah.
Because that's a difference. Steve Jobs didn't know how to make things, but he knew what was needed and what would look good.
Yeah.
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 It's a talent in itself.
I was always trying to make something different.
Yeah.
Right? Or something more pair up to the theme of the party.
Okay.
In that sense.
All right.
Yeah. So
interesting.
That went that way. And 17, 18, I was already fully independent.
Okay.
meaning I didn't need to ask my
mom
job. And dad. Yeah, I had my own firm, let's say.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had a little business.
Okay.
That we started with another friend.
Yeah.
It was a really masterful desktop publishing software operator.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy had a really good eye also for designing layouts and what have you.
17, 18, you had your own company?
Yeah. So we started there and we went to university. So during university, all that had to pause because, I went to a really hard school.
Okay.
It was tremendously difficult. I had to study this every single ounce of minute, hours. I had to put it on trying to.
So there's no partying. It wasn't university like you see on TV, like frat boys, and it was full on.
It was 3 or 4 hours of studying every day. And,
okay.
Only to get what others will achieve in. This was a very hard school. So if you get something around a 4 or 5 out of 10, you'll be doing great.
Really?
If you get a 10, you are a genius. Or, any high score markings, you will be a really, really good genius. And if you are, or you could be in certain subjects, you get a -10.
-10?
Yeah. So the professor will tell you, don't answer, you don't know. Because I'm going to score you negatively. Don't answer.
They will negative. Why negative? Just don't give me a point. That's okay.
Minus.
0 is good.
Minus. So you can get -10 to 10. So getting a 4 or 5, man, it was an achievement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
0 seems like an achievement as well.
So, I did that part of the engineering school, and then I went to do a practice, I remember, to a factory, and I really did not like a lot of the other subjects that I was being exposed to.
Like?
So we have theoretical physics, and that was a super hard subject for me. I mean, I just couldn't gravitate towards like these ideas of you're traveling at the speed of light in a spaceship, and then you're looking down on Earth, and you're looking at this particular subject, how it would look like, and then you need to provide the practical response in writing plus the formula that goes around that. And I just couldn't get my head around certain things. I mean, and then my kind of always I want to be active in business was always calling me back.
Yeah.
So I changed subjects to the demise of my dad.
He wasn't happy.
Yeah, he was not happy.
Okay. He wanted you to stick with.
And yeah, he wanted me to just finish.
Okay. Oh, so this means you had to do extra years.
Yeah.
Oh, so you had to pay more tuition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just finish, and then but I was really adamant to switch over to business because that was something that I knew since then that I was going to be doing. I didn't know what type of business, but I knew that I was going to be into creating a business of my own. And during business school, and I had opportunities to go and do practice, or they will ask you, let's go and go work for this company, this bank, or this or that, and I applied to many of those things, and I really didn't think it was for me. Like either go and work for a corporate environment or work for other things for other people, and I decided that no, I want to do my own thing.
Okay, you wanted to be. So you seem like you want to be independent. You were quite independent from a young age, and you knew what you wanted.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what was a feeling called, but it's something that it's kind of a gut feeling that you feel immediately. Like, okay, I really don't want to be doing this. I prefer to be doing that.
Okay,
what is that? I didn't have a master plan. Okay, we're going to do graphic design, or we're going to do this, and so nibble, fail. A lot of nibbles and a lot of failures, And
this is still in Mexico. This is
yeah. This is right after I moved to the school. I met this other guy, a good friend, continues to be a good friend of mine. His dad had a printing press.
Okay.
So we we'll do the design, we do the printing press, we do we'll try to gather like brochures for companies and what have you, and blah, blah. And then I remember we screw up with a big job for a big brand. We did this brochure and whatever, and it went wrong. It was wrong, and it was a lot of money. And then we had to repay to reprint this whole thing. So I maximized my credit card, right, to pay for the supplies, to repay for that.
But his dad owned the printing press.
Yeah, but
no
that was no one to help us.
He was no.
So all the supplies still expensive, paper, ink. The machinery will be free, but or using the printing press, but paying for the paper, paying for the inks.
Okay. What was the mistake that you made? Do you remember?
We didn't check a specific page in a car specification, and
you didn't proofread. It wasn't proofread.
It was not proofread. This is when I learned the art of attention to detail.
Okay.
I was not that part of the chain.
Yeah.
But regardless, I felt responsible to actually go and fix it.
Yes.
I could have just said no, and then. Well,
but whose fault? I mean, but it was your project. You had to.
Yeah. So I felt responsible for it. So maximize my credit card, enter into a lot of debt, and then, my dad also didn't come to. Okay, here, son, I'm going to pay your debt, and here is the thing.
Did you ask him?
Of course, I asked him.
Oh, you did ask him?
Yeah, it's like, please help me. I need to pay for this debt now that I have incurred. And like, nope, you had to get out of it by your own. And I think that was a big learning because...
Yeah, you learned the hard way, but you never made the mistake again, right?
No. And I actually had to do all these odd jobs, right, in order to accrue money. And then what he did help me was, I have a friend. He has the need of these stickers. He needs a ton of them.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys can do it.
Yeah.
And with that money, plus the other odd jobs, we're able to pay back.
You paid off the things.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
But I was banned for credit cards for many years because,
By your dad or the bank companies?
Both. My dad couldn't say anything anymore because I was,
Yeah. How old are you now at this time?
I was 20-ish.
Okay.
21.
Right. Yeah. But you maxed out. That's a hard lesson, but a valuable lesson to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And, that was probably one of those things that I learned also early, this idea of you're really cocky, you think you know everything.
Yeah, the energy of youth.
You're on top of the world and, you can do whatever you want. And then you realize that actually you don't know anything about anything specific.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is something that you need to master, focus, really read a lot about things in order to kind of get to grasp a little bit of what is an industry or business.
And when you graduated from university, where did you go on from there?
So after I finished university, I was already running a business.
With the same friend?
No, different friends now. So
okay.
This desktop design, graphic design kind of died there.
Okay.
After that one, it's like, okay, enough. Yeah. Like, okay, I need to try something else.
Okay.
So because technology was a big thing of what I really love to do.
Okay.
Anything that has to be with computers, anything that had a chip, anything that had to be with a keyboard. I was so much into this thing. So I started assembling computers.
You started assembling computers?
Yeah, I learned
not assembling now. Now you're assembling them. So
yeah.
Okay.
I'll go and buy the parts. I get to learn how to assemble a computer. A desktop, a tower, and then buy the tower, buy this. And that curiosity that I was telling you, kind of disassembling things came handy because, okay, now I can learn how to assemble it. Not disassemble, but or assemble, disassemble when needed to be repaired. So that's how I started assembling, selling computers. Then I partnered with another friend. I get to know somebody else that was doing this as well. And we went to, just do that business. And from assembling computers that we're selling to students and to researchers in the path of the biggest university in Mexico City, we wanted to become a wholesaler. We wanted to exit the retail business and become a wholesale business.
Okay.
Right? This idea of, okay, man, it's so hard to
build them together yourself.
Each one,
a
little profit on each, and selling each, and we don't know when the customer is going to come, and there will be periods of time there was no customers. So how do we make this a bit more self-sufficient? And that was the idea of let's do wholesale.
Okay. So you approached a computer company?
So I went to this computer spare parts company that we're buying, and we're looking at the guys where they were importing things that were coming from these companies in Miami that will be the centers of distribution for Latin America.
Yeah.
So we went to Miami, trying to cut a deal with.
So you didn't speak to the people you were working with or buying from. You went directly to Miami.
Yeah, I wanted to bypass them. I wanted to become them. It was such a successful company.
Yeah.
These young two guys that were running this wholesale company, it was so successful. They were really a role model for what I was looking at. These guys successful. They are really kind of using technology in a way that makes everything so fast and speedy. And, we are two young kids asking this guy, hey, how you doing this? Which accounting software? How you do the inventory management? And the guy was showing us, like, I use this software, I use this, we do this, we do that.
Okay.
And then say, okay, can we replicate that? And we went to Miami to look for these places. And then we found out that we need a lot of capital to actually start one of those businesses.
Yeah.
So that didn't stop us looking for that wholesale business. And in one of those odds of chances, I met this big, this executive from a big company a Korean company called Daewoo.
Oh, I know Daewoo.
You know Daewoo?
Yeah. They're huge.
Yeah, they're huge.
When was this?
That was 93, 92.
Okay. They were huge, yeah.
Yeah, they were huge. At that time, they were the biggest company in Korea. They will manufacture ships all the way to
cars, everything.
To monitors and everything else, right? So I wanted to buy monitors for them because we landed a deal to supply, 50 or 100 computers to a school. And so I wanted to bypass the guys, the wholesaler, and buy directly from the source.
Yeah.
And that's how I get to meet these guys. And I would just go and knock on a door
in Miami,
of a corporate office without having any appointment and speaking to the receptionist. Oh, I want to speak to somebody that can sell me these monitors.
Sorry, William, that seems very ballsy and gutsy to me.
Yeah.
You weren't shy, embarrassed, nothing like that?
Of course I was.
But then how did you get over that?
I don't know. I was, the benefits of what I'm going to be getting out of this will be higher than, me getting embarrassed and that. And, we got a lot of doors that were shut down on us and people that said no. And who are you? You're just a kid. I was not even dressed as a businessman. I was just, jeans and T-shirt. And
really?
Trying to, can I speak to someone? And one of these odds, I went to this office in this corporate, imagine that you go to, DIFC.
Yeah.
And you have all these corporate offices, right?
I'm surprised they let you through past security.
Yeah, at that time,
it was
more relaxed. It was. So I would go in, I would say, I would need to speak to somebody at this office, and they would just let me in. So I go in, go to reception. Everybody's super tight with the suits and the ties and, corporate America at that time and corporate world everywhere. And then I will ask, can I speak to this guy or in the reception? Somebody that can sell me these monitors. And then this young Korean executive was there by any chance that when I was asking the receptionist, I said, come to my office. So this guy took this kid, out of nowhere, and we went to sit in his office. And he was one of the 4 big directors of this Daewoo Mexico.
Kidding me.
Yeah, just by chance. And I explained him what I needed. I said, yeah, we can sell you these monitors, no problem. But what about this? I'm looking for someone to sell this thing. And it was this video doorbell and this mini CCTV system for homes. And I'm looking for somebody to buy this. And who can you introduce me? So take these 2 boxes, study the product, and tell me who can you sell it to, because he didn't even ask me if I wanted to sell it. So I take these 2 boxes, complete stranger. He doesn't know if I'm going to appear back with these 2 boxes of demo products. He sold me the monitors, by the way. So we did get a good profit deal on that. And then I go back to my partner and say, hey, we had this thing. And then we studied the product, and there was nothing like it in Mexico. And remember, Mexico City could be dangerous. And, having who is knocking at the door, or who is what's happening outside of your home and blah, blah, in a little CCTV system that was not that expensive, seemed to be a good deal. So we created a brand. This is where branding came to really more in forefront. We created a brand for our assembled computers, but this was a more serious thing.
Yeah.
because it required packaging and instruction manuals and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So career brand, I mortgaged my house, my apartment. This without, my parents knew what I was doing. So my dad has passed away there, so the house was under my name.
Okay.
But it was on behalf of my family. I would just.
It was your family's house?
Yes. I would just.
Oh, it wasn't just your house. Your family lived there?
Yeah. Well, it was, my family was in Japan. I was living alone. So I just.
But it's your family's house.
Yeah.
You took it.
Yeah.
Again,
mortgage this entire thing.
Yeah.
Without knowing what I'm signing, but this is the guarantees that we're going to be able to pay, because the first shipment had to be, I don't know, it was $300,000 of worth of a product, because the minimum
$300,000.
Yeah, what the minimum shipment was a container, a 40-foot container of product.
That would be the equivalent of 10, 15 times easy now.
Yeah. So I'd like, should we buy? That seems to be the story of my life. So it's a bit risky.
Okay. Yeah.
We put it in. It took us 6 months to get the product.
Yeah.
In the meantime, the product was coming. I was literally peddling every single security retail store that I could find all across Mexico. I will be traveling. I will be going to exhibitions. I will going to, and again, kid.
How much time did you have from the time that it started to ship to get to you?
I think that the whole deal took about in between 9 months to a year.
Oh, okay.
But once we got the order we received the shipment was on the way.
Yeah.
It was about 4 months.
You had 4 months to just haul out and find customers and sell.
Yeah, because I needed to pay the money of that thing, or otherwise the operation had to start. And not only that, I had to prove to this company that also, or to my customers, that I will have a technician. That I'll have somebody that will repair warranties, because all those things. And I had no idea about any of this. No, absolutely idea.
So someone had to install it. Someone had to be able to fix it if there was problems with it.
That would be not my deal, because I will be a wholesaler. Remember the whole thing was.
But if it breaks, you have to fix it.
Yeah, they need to bring it to me, and I need to assess if this was under warranty repair or this was chargeable to the.
Okay, so your childhood comes in perfect here, because you knew how to open it up himself and.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. This idea of what could be wrong.
Yeah.
I think that kind of thinking was always very front forward.
Okay.
So we did this part. That business became very successful. We sold a ton of security CCTV systems all across Mexico under this brand. My counterpart, Daytech.
Daytech. Okay.
My counterpart in Daewoo, he became a very good friend and kind of a mentor. This guy, right? We're still friends today.
Did he ask you, really?
Still? Yeah, we're still friends today. I mean, he was probably 10 years or more my senior, right? Yeah. So he took me as his young apprentice, and he was in this big corporation. I was on an entrepreneurial kind of a state.
Yeah.
So after 4 years, he returned to Korea.
Yeah.
And then he says, I have learned something from you, and I want to quit. But I don't know when I'm going to quit, but I want to quit. Like, okay, well, hopefully you will not quit soon. And then they will implode. Financial crisis. I don't know what happened. It was a big crisis, and they will, as a company, imploded.
Yeah.
But then my business was in risk of getting imploded as well, because I depended on them.
Yeah. But you were only selling the one product from them?
Yeah, it was a line of products.
Yeah.
We have like 3 or 4 different products from home and office and whatever. But and I was trying to, I put this product actually in Sam's Club, the Walmart kind of club, and we put it in Walmart. We put it in all these chains, and so that's when I really learned how to negotiate, with the buyers.
Yeah,
because we're going to buy your product, but it's really not buying. I'm going to buy. You need to park here this inventory. If we don't sell it, we'll return it, and there's no cost. And we had to pay you in 90 days or 120 days. And this is where I really had to learn how to negotiate and look for finance and things like that. Yeah.
And how long did you have Daytech for? And then after the crisis, or did it?
No. So after the crisis, my friend, Said, don't worry about it. I'm going to quit after the company has imploded, and I'm going to start my own company. And I became his first client.
Okay.
So
what did he open?
No, he was a trading company.
Okay.
So he know the source of where this product was being manufactured, and he just continued to supply it to me in the exact same specifications as we had it.
Better price.
Yes, better price.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that went on for many years, I guess, from about 5 or 6 years.
How did you pivot into branding? Because I know you did a bit of branding for the first company.
Yeah,
before
and this company, we did the branding bit. When I was doing the computer bit assembly, I got exposed to what was the ARPANET, not the ARPANET. What was the Archie and Gopher? What is the incipient parts of what the internet really became? We're doing BBS, these electronic bulletin boards, and I got exposed to that part.
Okay.
And then I heard from a friend, you can actually set up an ISP, or we can do. We can start learning how to code and how to do HTML pages. So that started there.
As the technology was evolving, you were there in the forefront and experiencing it all.
Yeah, we started doing HTML 1.0, and we downloaded the first Netscape. Then we started an ISP. So at the same time that this business was going, I started an ISP.
Okay.
A small internet service provider.
Yeah.
We had 12 modems, 12 telephone lines. That's how we started. It was so small. And we were servicing customers. We were doing location hosting, co-location, and, we had a number of services in there.
Yeah.
So I was running both these two companies, the wholesaling business.
You weren't married at this time, right?
No.
I'm just wondering, because how much, there's only so many hours in the day. How you manage?
Fully
going.
Yeah, there was every day, every weekend.
Different partner with the other company? With the ISP as well?
Yeah.
Okay. 2 companies running full on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, this part of designing websites, we designed a website for a company, and it was amazing. I was like, I really like that experience of designing that combined technology and design together for something new, a new medium. I really like that stuff. So we opened a third business, which was this interactive agency, right?
This is the first,
dedicated to do basically websites. And one of the first things we did as that company...
you had an interactive agency, what, in 95, 96?
In 97, 96.
That's very early, because interactive...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the ISP started back in 1995, 6, yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. So then we started the interactive agency, and, Flash.
Yes.
Flash.
Yeah.
That was called Splash at that time.
Yeah.
Flash came in, I don't know, I went to an exhibition and I saw this thing called Flash, and this animation thing, vector animation on browsers. I was in love with this thing. It's so I hired a guy that is a very good friend of mine, and he's an amazing graphic designer. He was looking for a job, and he sent me his portfolio in a CD, and it was all made on Flash. And I was like, I need to hire this guy. So I went to his house, installed the software for him to connect to my ISP for free. It's like, just come and work with me. And that's how we got to do this interactive agency. And we designed the first fully Flash-based website for a big nutrition company, the largest consumer nutritional company in Mexico at that time, and it gathered a lot of attention. So it was that. So we're doing now these 3 things. I was juggling these 3.
But you preferred the interactive agency. That was what was your passion, more of your passion.
Yeah.
Between the 3.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I was happy running the 3 of them.
Yeah.
I was happy multitasking.
Yeah.
Going from one thing to another.
But at some point you had to realize that you couldn't do all 3, or did you keep on doing all 3?
No. So yes, I kept doing the whole thing for many years, and then .com starting to appear and knocking the doors of a lot
2000s and things.
Yeah, 99, and we got a lot of offers. We got to partner with another firm that they're also doing amazing work, and we partnered with these guys to create this interactive agency, a new name, and be more e-commerce enabled, because that was going to be the thing. I did not only design, and that's when the big guys start coming to knock on our doors
to buy you.
To buy.
Okay.
We have big firms.
To buy the interactive agency,
yes.
not the other two.
Yes.
Okay.
But then the way I sold it was we're going to sell the ISP and the interactive agency together as one, and the other business was separate. That continued to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened is we had these bidders. It was amazing conversations. We have all these.
They were just bidding over you.
Yeah, this company say, "Well, we'll offer this." This offer. These guys will. I'll double it by double. Double it by two.
And these companies were in Mexico City, or they were in America, or
they were in America.
Okay.
The
advertising agencies wanted to take you over.
No, it was other kind of e-consulting businesses.
Oh, okay.
The e-business. Or whatever was called e-business was really taking off. IBM was really hot on this. Yeah. This is where big players like Sapien, Razorfish, and all these big interactive players starting to grow and became public companies.
Yeah.
So one Spanish group came over that was funded by Telefonica.
The end of the Telefonica,
Yeah, and they were funded by them, and they wanted to buy us, and so was in between them and this other.
And Sapien as well? Was Sapien bidding?
No, there was no Sapien. It was this other group based in Argentina and owned by this rocker. This guy that from a band that was a super famous band.
Okay.
So he started kind of a business, a venture fund business, and he wanted also to buy us. So we're in between. Let's go with the Rockstar, or let's go with these other guys here.
Telefonica is huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. So we end selling it to these other guys.
To Telefonica.
Yeah. And then I became the chief operating officer of that company.
Okay.
Of that new form company that had operations. It was already huge. I mean, we're already 500 people.
500 people?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
just
we needed to expand.
And you were expanding different locations?
Yeah, we were in Chile, Sao Paulo, Miami, Madrid, Mexico City, and expanded aggressively all over Latin America, all Spanish and Portuguese speaking markets. We have an office in Lisbon. Okay. Yeah, it was a big jump.
Yeah.
To become a different type of animal. And then I got a lot of training on, we're going to IPO. Mm-hmm. And this is all the things that you need to learn how to become, somebody that can be trusted to investors and analysts to grow you.
It's crazy. I mean, I don't want to say it's luck, but you seem to have been very lucky that, or smart, that every time there was a change in technology, you saw the foresight and moved into it. Whether it was the ISP or the interactive or the websites, you weren't afraid or worried or waited to see what happened. You went.
Yeah, I think this is the part of one time sometimes people overthink.
Yeah.
Like you can, I can see these personalities, right? People that, I need to have a proper plan. I need to have a full detailed plan. I need to understand all the details and every potential thing that could go wrong before I even move.
Okay.
Right? And then there's other people that would just, okay, let's move on. And then as we go into this, we may learn what could be wrong or what we should have done differently.
But then isn't that risky? Because like with your printing press, if you make a mistake, you end up in the credit card debt and...
Absolutely.
But I would think that if doing the first one, the printing press, would have made you more cautious, so you would have those detailed plans. Did you not want to...
I love to do detailed plans.
Okay, so you do.
My team knows that if there's something I love, it's planning.
Okay, so it's not like you just say, okay, let's do it. You have a plan. You do go and make a strategy.
I will go to do those detailed plans because otherwise, he's laughing. But it was more for my own sanity.
Okay,
right? Rather than expose a lot of my fears to the team or my partners or whatever, I would try to think about where are the lines that we should not cross.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Like we had this colocation business. So at that time, because we have a big pipe to the internet, so people will bring their computers to collocate directly into your pipe, and then you share the bandwidth, and you charge them by the bandwidth. So one of our first clients, they brought us this computer box. We plug it in, and he was going to pay a colocation fee. And every time that that box at some point, it will become our internet as a whole will crawl slow, right? It will become so slow.
Mm.
And so we didn't understand what was going on. And it was at certain times, like at night or like very late at night. So we went one day and we plug out that computer out of the network, and then the internet was good again. And we plug it in and it was down again. So we called this guy, said, well, you're exceeding your bandwidth limits, but also I want to know what is inside of this computer. Because, I don't want to have any troubles whatsoever. So I don't know what you have in there. And luckily for us was nothing necessarily bad.
Yeah.
But this is where, okay, we cannot do this without having proper agreements, proper legal frameworks to protect us against any potential.
So you would act quickly when you would see something was wrong, or you would act on it quickly?
Immediately.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this company, this is not what Emblem was.
No.
This is another company.
Yeah.
Okay. Where did you progress from this company?
So then in this company, the .com never pan out, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here otherwise. It was so close. The valuation was big. It was $1 billion valuation.
$1 billion?
$1 billion valuation. Yeah, we're making... it was going to be a big thing. We were just a bit too late. I would say a couple months before we have been surviving. I don't know if the business will have survived, but we have made it.
But you would have done the IPO and it would have gone into the...
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And then, then we ended with a company that was with a lot of debt, right? We're 100 kind of people there. We had a huge amount of debt into that company.
Where did that come from?
Because we grew. We had to grow that fast.
Okay.
And with that growing fast, well, comes taxations and comes a lot of liabilities, right? That we're not prepared to assume at that time.
Yeah.
So we had this 25, or what it was, 25,000 square foot mansion. We had cooks, we have masseurs, we have trainers that will come.
This is for the agency?
This is the interactive.com business. Man, it was fun. We had 2 cooks. It will serve you food from 6 a.m. to midnight. Anything you wanted.
I worked in agencies for 18 years. Big agencies. Okay. We never had cooks. We never had, they definitely didn't have a masseuse. Remember, once we were on a shoot in Thailand, there was a masseuse involved, but nothing. The food, no, none of this. I missed the bubble. I definitely missed the bubble as well.
Yeah, we lived that bubble.
You lived the bubble, yeah. It's because of your generation I didn't get to have those fun times. I heard about the heyday of advertising, but I never got to experience it. I was just there for the budget cuts.
We did big things.
Everything.
That agency became the number 1 interactive developer in Mexico, and we did big things.
Is it still around, or
no? It closed because during the .com it didn't survive. So, but we did the reintroduction of Renault. We did a lot of work for Johnny Walker.
Okay.
We work with a lot of Kellogg's Latin America. We did a lot of big brands like Pfizer and others, like all across Latin America. So it was a big thing. And then when the money's dry up and there was no more money, it was really hard to let go of people.
Yeah.
It was really, really hard to
you
do
felt
that.
responsible for them?
Of course.
How do you deal with that? Because it's not easy to say fire or let people go. Like how, when you come to those times, what do you...
My philosophy has always been be super transparent.
Okay.
Honest on the situation. I knew that people will react adversely and negatively to, obviously, this situation.
Blame you.
Of course. But I just didn't respond, right? I didn't respond in an aggressive form to them. I was trying to explain a more objective form. How upsetting was that for them, but also for us. We still try to, so we bought the company with another friend. We bought the company for $1, but it came with a lot of the liabilities, right? So the assets, there were computers and not the brand, because the brand was not going to be available, but the assets and the clients, we bought it for $1.
Okay.
And with that $1, we went to merge with another company with an investor to help us to, grow the company back again. So that company became very successful. We brought some of our people. Not everybody had a place in that company, but we were a very strong 25, 30 team. And we merged with another group that was already operating at a very high level of software development. There was 100+ people.
Okay.
So we brought the interactive web creative component to them, where they had the hard nuts and bolts of software development on their arm. And then we tried to merge our methodologies together. And that is when I met what will become my incursion to branding.
Okay.
Right. This is where I met a partner at Future Brand at that time. And this is where
the company Future Brand?
The company Future Brand, in Mexico.
Yeah.
So through this friend in common, I met this very young executive that was sent from New York to manage the Mexican operation, who he is now the global CEO of Interbrand. And he was a very smooth operator. He really knew the business of branding, but also he really knew the business of new business and relationship making. So I worked with him as the deal that we make that when I was trying to exit this other merging company. This is too stiff for me. I want to do something smaller. And I had a very good friend at a bank, the third largest bank in Mexico, and they were trying to find an interactive agency. So we did a lot of work for them.
Okay.
We just couldn't build it because we didn't have a company. So we exited this other company, and then we tried to form a new company. And then I didn't have to build, but we were working. Just couldn't get paid. And through this friend, we established a relationship where they became a client of that operation, and then I will build through them.
Okay.
And then that's how I got really involved into the game of branding.
Okay.
So I was very good technologist. I knew how to do design pieces interactively, but I didn't know a lot of brand strategy and, the discipline of branding. So I learned through the ropes,
Just by doing.
And calling a lot of people and saying, okay, how do you do this? Explain me this and explain that story. And that innate curiosity became, something that I use thoroughly through my life to learn new things.
Okay. It's very interesting. So who would give you, did you have like a mentor or someone who would give, I know there was your other gentleman from Daewoo, but was there somebody that you would look to, for example, in the branding as a mentor to guide you through these things?
Absolutely. My partner in New York, or my other partner that also retired like 7 years ago from this business, they became my biggest mentors in really learning. And, now I've been in this business for 25 years. So
okay. Doing this, what was probably the best advice you had?
I think that the best advice has always been be curious.
Be curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, really try to learn about anything that you want to learn, deepen down there, and then try to contribute by speaking to experts and other people and try to teach it.
Okay. Interesting. And now, so you created Emblem.
Yeah.
When did that form?
So that was 15 years ago.
15 years ago.
Yeah.
And where did you start it? In America or Mexico City as well?
We started in 4 places.
At the same time?
Yes. So we are a group of partners.
Can I? Oh, okay. I was because normally you start one.
Yeah.
But I should have learned from the way our conversation is going that you'd like to do multitasking. You are 4 places at the same time.
Yeah, we started Emblem we joined a group that was already established.
Oh, okay.
That had an office in Mexico and Caracas, Venezuela.
Okay.
And then the relationship with these partners, and we all were owners of each one of our own cities or locations.
Yeah.
With cross linkage and cross shareholding in between. But the idea here was, well, let's create a network of branding agencies and offices that had different expertise. And then the premise was we'll create Emblem as a platform for branding and technology. And we'll bring the best experts in each one of the locations for each one of the projects as per requirement.
Yeah.
And that's how was the basis and the foundation of Emblem. And what we're trying to solve as an agency is to create a great intimacy between people, brands, and technology.
Okay. And so it was Caracas,
Mexico City, New York, Dubai.
All at the same time?
Yeah. They were already operating, but yeah.
But you can. All right. And tell me some of the I wouldn't say the coolest because they're all great brands, but what were the most memorable brands or experiences you had creating? Because you created brands, and what would be some that you could talk about?
I mean, we did so much work in 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in the region now 21 years or 22 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been luckily and I was fortunate to be exposed to the greatest brands in the region.
Okay.
And I work here in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, in Bahrain, in Saudi, in Kuwait. And we had done financial brands. We had done real estate branding, a lot of real estate branding.
Okay.
We helped Qatar with the Qatar Football Cup bid in 2022 before when they launched it to the public.
Okay.
And to the Emir at that time. So we did a lot of work.
Yeah.
Of different nature.
Yeah.
Some very compressed and very fast. Things that were very stressful and things that were very enjoyable. So I would say that of all the brands that we have worked, probably the one that hits very close to home is this project that we created called I Drink Local.
Okay, I Drink Local.
I Drink Local.
Mm-hmm.
And this is an effort, it's kind of a community effort that self-funded. We wanted to promote the consumption of local filter water.
Okay.
We see a lot of the issues on going to a restaurant or a place, and the bills of water sometimes exceeds the bills of food.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make sure that was a word that we can go out there and then speak to people and to the community about, something that you should know.
Yeah.
Bringing water from all across the world is not the safest or the, smartest bet for your wallet.
Yeah. Very nice. And so, as I said, we were discussing, you seem to have been on the forefront when new technologies are coming in. How do you feel about AI within taking its role in branding and yeah.
We speak about this every day.
Yeah.
I think people tend to think about AI as this is going to erode or remove the agencies out of the picture.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the case. I think AI is a magnificent advisor, help, assistant, but it's not really a strategist. It doesn't have taste.
It's not a strategist.
No.
So my friend's safe.
Your friend is safe. It doesn't have taste, right?
Okay.
So anybody that understands color combination, color science, space making, that's something that AI doesn't really understands. Understands everything in mathematical formulas.
Okay.
Understands everything in three-dimensional numbers, but not really can decipher if this is good or this is bad.
Okay.
So I think that the AI is going to become this amazing augmentation for executives and seniors in the industry, in the brand industry, but it's not going to replace them.
Okay.
Now, we see a lot of people trying to do this one prompt, give me the entire paradigm here.
Yeah.
And it's obviously never going to happen. You are a director, you're a producer.
Yeah.
You see these amazing things that AI can produce, but
But we get a lot. Like now, a lot of people are scared in my industry. Especially as a director, people are coming and telling me do something else because directing is going to be obsolete. There'll be no TV commercials in 5 years because everything is being made in AI, and it is quite scary. If you let it consume you, you will take it in a negative way. But I think the best way is to try and use it as a tool. I just haven't figured out, and I don't think people have figured out yet how to use it as a tool in films rather than saying, oh no, we're not going to shoot anymore. We're just going to make everything in AI, because you've seen, I think it was the Google, the pharmacy one, and then the car showroom, the car dealership. Everyone said, oh, well, we don't need directors anymore. We can just do it in AI. So it's very scary.
But imagine the same the differentiation is not there, right?
Yeah.
So when you do things in AI, everybody has access to the same tool.
Yes.
So if you want to create the same thing that anybody else can do, do AI. So maybe if you want to a quick fix or a small cheap thing that doesn't really advances your brand or doesn't really advances your company, for sure you can use everything that spits out of the AI with one prompt.
Yeah.
But in reality, you want to make this useful. You use it to conceptualize. You use it to brainstorm. You use it to proof of concepts.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't think that's going to replace human creativity and ingenuity anytime soon.
I'm conscious that we're running out of time. I just want to ask you one question for anyone wanting to get into the branding business, as you've been on the forefront of it for 20-something years. What advice would you give a young up-and-coming person, budding, who wants to get into branding?
So I will say this to the new generation coming to take over the business.
Yeah.
Don't settle with the technology. Don't think that AI is going to be the only thing that you're going to be using. Don't try to shortcut your pathways to learning, to experiment, and to expose yourself to different methodologies, new processes, ways of thinking. And certainly don't forget that branding exists as a tool for growth for businesses.
Okay.
Right. So if you're creating a brand without really being aligned or attuned to making a business successful, or making value to those shareholders of that company, you're not really having the purpose of what the tool is about.
Okay.
This is a part of creativity and human. There's never a human versus AI. I mean, we use AI. We created our own tool called Alumni for AI. We truly believe in the power of technology. I mean, I'm a technologist from my heart.
From birth.
So, but this power of imagination and the creative thinking happens because there's all these millions of inputs and context and things that you're seeing and experiencing at any time in your life that will come at that moment to create that little spark of light. They'll say, oh, that's it. That's what we need to do. And, there's no much. I mean, imagine how much you will need to feed an AI system.
To prompt it to be able to do that.
To be able to do that. That seems to be on a table, right? I don't know. Maybe, who knows? Maybe in the future, maybe in 5 years, the friend is right and we are out of business. And we're happily living somewhere in the beach fed by AI. I don't know.
Okay. Very nice. William, it's been wonderful to talk to you. Thank you very much for coming onto the show. I really appreciated it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your stories. Thank you very much.